defense. Last year, River Rouge was 0-6, but they still used a stinging defense to defeat arch rival Ecorse. The game's only score was the result of Carlton Smith's 27-yard jaunt on this punt return. A couple plays later, Smith lugged it in for the touchdown. And Ecorse head coach Ralph Wilson's Red Raiders were forced to wait until 1986 to avenge the loss to Benny Benford's River Rouge Panthers. This is a rivalry that started in 1928. You can throw out the records when these two teams meet. It could get crazy. It's Ecorse versus River Rouge. From Great Lakes Field in River Rouge, TV3 Sports presents high school football. Today's game, the Ecorse Red Raiders versus the River Rouge Panthers. Hi everybody, I'm Bob Zahari, and donning another hat today is Joey Hudson, who is the host of the open lines usually, but he's going to help me call the color for today's game. Now the rivalry in this game started way back in 1928. Let's talk a little bit about that, Joe.
Well, we're talking about 60 years of confrontations, Bob, and of course with you today you have a gentleman who's participated in several of these rivalries, and this is an intense game. I mean, if being from the state of Michigan, you think pro football, you think Lions and Bears, you think, of course, on the college level there's Michigan, Michigan State. There's nothing bigger than the high school game right here today, River Rouge and Ecorse. 60 years of some serious confrontations, boasting for the whole year. Different story this year, of course, River Rouge, as you said in the open. They're 5-1. Ecorse is really in a very desperate situation, 0-6, 16-17 players. Should be a good game.
Well, the game's coming up. It's next. It's the Ecorse Red Raiders versus the River Rouge Panthers right here on TV3. This game is being brought to you by Park Athletic Supply, the team sports specialist, and by Wyandotte Sports Medicine, part of the excellent care from Wyandotte General Hospital, and by Harvey Buick. We guarantee the lowest prices downriver.
Well, the big one has created the huge one, and that's a huge used car inventory at Harvey Buick. We've got some of the nicest cars in the state of Michigan. We've taken in 80s all the way through 86 model year. And I tell you what, we're ready to clear all the inventories at Harvey Buick. So make your best selection and hurry up and get to Harvey Buick, 14,000 Telegraph Road in Taylor, Michigan.
Park Athletic Supply is your women's and men's local team sports specialist, serving Southeast Michigan for 25 years. Get these Russell Athletic Youth soccer jerseys and pants from $7.50 a set. A large selection of soccer jerseys for $7.50. Plus, Russell Athletic warm-ups and coaches' shirts and shorts. Park Athletic carries a full line of equipment for all sports and offers full service lettering and numbering. Park Athletic Supply, everything for the athlete.
Hi again, everybody. Bob Zahari here with color commentator for today, Joey Hudson. Thanks for being here, Joe.
Bob, it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. I tell you, I want to say that for many years you were the man that shot these pictures, and you've made one heck of a transition from behind the camera in front of the camera. And we've got a nice little crowd here at Great Lakes Field.
At kickoff, the game's underway. The Panthers kicking off to Ecorse. Ball's fielded at about the 20-yard line, up over the 30 to the 32-yard line. Ecorse will have it 1st and 10 there. There's a flag on the field, however.
He's a sophomore for Ecorse. Returned that about 7 yards. Of course, River Rouge, Bob, is starting off right where it wants to. Its defense is tough. It's tough. That's carried the team this year, all year long, the defense.
On the year so far, Joe, they have 3 shutout games. And the defense has kept them in all those games, a couple overtimes, too.
Well, just before kickoff, I talked to head coach Benny Benford, and he said the key to everything they do is Javon Griffin. He's a 6 foot, 225 pounds senior, plays right tackle.
So the penalty is a clip. It's against Ecorse. Ecorse will have the ball 1st and 10, backed up.
And that play backfired. That play backfired on Ecorse. Bad way to start the game. Momentum is always a key, and of course having your first play backfire like that on you doesn't help. Emotions travel back and forth in all of these games.
Let's take a look at the River Rouge defensive line. Ken Walsh, Leroy Jackson, Bobby Hill, Dave Duncan, and Kevin Williams. The linebackers Ulysses Payne and Richard Mintz. We'll take a look at the backfield in a moment. 1st down play still. They run the ball straight up the middle. Running that one is, we don't have a number on it. We'll have to find out who that is if we can.
Tackle was made by Leroy Jackson, number 60 for River Rouge.
Here's a secondary for Rouge. Rodney Bruce at safety, along with Alex Cassaway. Anthony Cross and Donald Jones at the corners.
River Rouge operates off a 5-man front. The linebackers are the key to their defense. A little movement there in the line.
Looked like the left tackle jumped.
Well, for a few minutes there, Bob, I didn't know if we were going to have a game. Ecorse arrived only about 7 or 8 minutes prior to kickoff. Certainly wasn't a lot of preparation time for them, or time to relax and get the butterflies out of the stomach.
Ecorse having a tough year numbers-wise, Joe. Only 16 kids on their roster.
Well, that's right. They got beat 40-0 last week at Highland Park. Devastating loss for the squad. And as we said in the open, River Rouge is enjoying a fantastic year with playoff possibilities.
If they win this game, they'll also clinch the Suburban Athletic Championship. Penalty this time is against Rouge. That'll bring up a 3rd down play. Ball's intended for number 23. And we're going to have to get a spotter down there and see if we can find out some of these numbers as the players and numbers have changed.
Okay, number 23 is Donnell Stamps. He's a junior for Ecorse. That play just might work. That play might work. He overthrew him by about 5 yards. Might look for them to come back the next offensive series, of course. It's kick time.
Ecorse 4th down. They're going to punt it away. It's a wobbling kick. Hits at about the 45-yard line. And still in Ecorse territory, River Rouge will have the ball 1st and 10 at the 44 of Ecorse.
Now, Bob, we get an opportunity to see probably what is one of the most impressive offensive lines in the state of Michigan as far as high school football goes. Lorenzo Jenkins plays center. Richard Mintz is the right guard. Ulysses Payne, left guard. Javon Griffin, we talked about earlier. He's an excellent prospect. Jeff Smith, left tackle. Aaron Hightower and Kevin Williams are the ends. Chuck Hall, of course, is one of the alternate quarterbacks, but starting today is Anthony Cross, 5'7", 160-pound senior for River Rouge. First play.
We'll take a look at the backfield in a moment. They pitch it back to look like Billy Campbell, and Campbell takes it over the left side for a couple of yards. We'll give him 4 on the play.
Well, Campbell is having an excellent year, Bob. 512 yards in 6 games, 126 carries. Here's the backfield.
Anthony Cross at quarterback. He'll be alternating with Chuck Holliday, Billy Campbell, Kevin Moore, and the fullback is Lamont Lewis. 2nd down and 6.
key is that right side. That right side. There they go. Oh, he slipped.
Campbell slips down as he's trying to make the cutback. Goes down without anybody tackling him. He loses about 2 yards on the play.
Well, as I was saying, Bob, the key to River Rouge's offense is that right side behind Javon Griffin, 6'2", 225 pounds. Richard Mintz is at 5'8", 165 pounds. He's just a sophomore, but he's a key player to the sweeps and the 32 trap that Coach Binford likes to run.
River Rouge with a big turnaround this year. 5-1 going into this game. Pitch it back to Lamont Lewis. He breaks a couple tackles.
Didn't get much. Looked like a fourth down play here. And again, emotions are such a key factor in this ball game. Of course, we both know that Ecorse is undermanned. Had 11 men on the field, just 6 men on the sidelines. But it doesn't matter, I don't think, today.
Well, that'll bring up fourth down and 8 yards to go.
I think so. Big gamble, though. Big gamble this early in the game. That's confidence, though.
And they hand the ball off to Campbell.
He fumbled.
And it's recovered by Ecorse.
Well, Coach Binford rolled the dice very early here. I guess he had confidence in that offensive line, but you got to hold that ball back in order to move it. So Ecorse gets the ball back on offense.
There you see the fumble again, as Billy Campbell had it knocked away, and Ecorse has recovered the ball. They'll have it 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line.
Going back to the air.
Under a heavy rush, and there's nobody out there at all.
Bobby Hill.
Could be intentional grounding on that one.
Bobby Hill right there. He's the leader of the River Rouge defensive sack pack. He's the pass rush leader. 6'2", 285-pound junior. He's got 6 sacks so far this year, 27 solo tackles, 1 fumble recovery. He is an excellent prospect, and he's just a junior, so Coach Binford will have him back next year. Let's see what Ecorse comes up with now.
At quarterback is Garland Mance. He's only a freshman. 2nd down and 10 with 3 wide receivers. 1 man in the backfield, and they hand it to him.
And look at that defense again. Again, that defense. It's just awesome for River Rouge. Bobby Hill again in on a tackle, assisted by Javon Griffin. You're going to hear that name a whole lot today.
We're talking about the turnaround, Joe. The last 2 years coming into this game, River Rouge was 0-6 at this point in the season.
Boy, it's a major turnaround, and I guess you could say it's sort of a flip-flop in this rivalry. Each year there's something different. We've done these games before in snow and rain and ice and bitter cold. And again, Ecorse is tentative. They're moving quick. You got movement in the offensive line there. And another flag.
Looks like a loss of concentration out on the field, as they keep jumping the snap count.
Well, I think both teams have got to settle down just a little bit as we look at the referee. Now there's a Ecorse offensive team. It's tough for Ecorse, though, because having so few players, that means you got to go both ways. And one of the problems they've had this year, of course, is they play an excellent first half of football, but you can wear them down in the 3rd quarter, and we'll see a little later on. Right now, let's see what this River Rouge defense can do with Ecorse.
3rd down and 17 after the penalty. Ecorse has the ball, their 2nd series of plays. The ball is fumbled. Looked like they were trying to reverse. Nice run around the right side, and he almost broke it.
Fernando Walker, number 30, carrying for Ecorse. A broken play, picked up big yardage. Fernando, of course, is a junior. Here's a look at it again. Now watch he drops the ball right there, but Fernando picked it up, had the momentum. Nice fake there, cut back. Nice fake again. Finally caught up with Fernando Walker. Big yardage.
Walker, you gotta learn how to cut it up, son.
So, he doesn't pick up enough for the 1st down.
Got a block. Get back a little bit, Major.
That'll make it 4th down and 7. And Ecorse is going to punt.
Kick it. All right.
Punt's underway. It's fielded and fumbled. Picked up
Luckily recovered.
By Donald Jones.
Again, concentration was not there. He took his eyes off the ball just a minute, and he lost sight of where it was going. Originally Anthony Cross, and here it is again. Got the wind at his back. Nice little kick there. High. And again, he took his eyes off the ball. Ecorse quick to react to the fumble recovery. Rouge was lucky there. Very, very lucky. Let's see if this offensive line, this highly touted offensive line, can show us what it's all about there.
So they recover the fumble and have it 1st and 10, deep in their own territory at the 17-yard line.
Now we got Chuck Hall in at quarterback. And more movement in that line. More movement. Of course, we said earlier that Coach Benford, who's been the head coach in River Rouge for 16 years now, this is his 16th season, he likes to alternate quarterbacks. Earlier we saw Anthony Cross, now we see Chuck Hall. I think Hall is the better passer.
On the year, he's 13 for 32, 361 yards and 2 touchdowns. They pick up 5 on the play. It'll make it 1st and 5.
Oh,
they run the ball,
boy.
big hole.
Look at that.
Billy, check that. Lamont Lewis takes it right up the middle.
Yeah, Bob, but the key to that was Richard Mintz. Mintz, as we talked about earlier, here's a replay. Now watch where Mintz is lining up. He lines up right behind the quarterback. There he is. He throws a key block right there. Open that hole, and he's got some daylight. Lamont Lewis. They call Mintz the ice cube, a la the refrigerator. And there that lineup is again.
Line up the power I, 1st down and 10. Hand the ball off to Lamont Lewis again. Takes it over off tackle.
Well, you know, we can almost tell Ken Schramm, our director, that he can keep the cameras pretty much focused on the right side of that line, because it looks as though that Lamont Lewis and Kevin Warren all going to be running all day behind Javon Mitchell, Richard Mintz, and Aaron Hightower. Of course, they run 95% of their plays behind the big guy. 62, Javon Griffin.
Pick up 5 on the first play, 2nd down and 5. Back to pass. He's hit just as he gets rid of the ball. Chuck Hall. Lucky that one wasn't intercepted.
Well, the intensity of the game helped a little bit there. Ecorse's pass rush is not organized, but they're getting in because River Rouge just isn't concentrating yet, I guess. Give Hall the time he needs to pass.
I asked Coach Benford before the game if he might be looking past Ecorse to Saginaw Buena Vista, the last game of the year.
I don't think so. Not this game.
3rd down and 5. They pitch the ball back to Rodney Bruce. Bruce picks up a couple.
Brought down by Williams Binion. Again, that Ecorse defense is coming out playing very surprisingly. Very tough. Very tough.
Let me try to block it.
Okay, here it is again. Rouge is going to the sweep on the left side this time, and there's Binion. A collar tackle, slams him to the ground. Nice reaction, nice cover on the play. So far, that offensive line hasn't been able to produce. 4th and 8.
And the bunt for Rouge is Bobby Hill. Snaps over his head. He does a good job to pull it down. He's running with the ball. Breaks a couple tackles. And the big guy bounces all the way out past midfield into Ecorse Raider territory.
Another broken play. Big yards, Bobby Hill. Let's take a look at this.
Does a good job just to catch this ball, Joe.
Very high snap. Very high snap. Quick reaction, though. He plays on the basketball team. Of course, he can dunk a few, and he just now showed you why. Sweeping right. Of course, that quick speed helps. Finally brought down on the right side, right in front of the River Rouge bench.
Neil Michael had the only chance of stopping him. After that, he was gone. Back to pass goes Chuck Hall. He's looking to the left corner of the field. Sending that one out for Kevin Williams, I believe.
Well, Kevin is 6'3", 210 pounds. He's the deep threat on River Rouge. Overthrown a little bit, but Kevin could extend his arms a little bit too. And I think it was a combination of both, but Chuck Hall likes to put it in the air.
He was wide open on the play. If he had it, I think he would have been in for 6.
I think we can look for that play sometime in the very near future. The key for Rouge is to tire out this Ecorse defense because many of these guys are on the offense. Let's see if they go back to the air.
Power eye left. And it looks like the left tackle jumped off sides. Javon Griffin.
A little over anxious there. I'm tempted to believe, though, that River Rouge is going to stick to the air game, although the running game is what's carried them through, along with that great defense.
Time is being kept on the field today, Joe. So we'll have to rely on the referees to let us know when the end of the quarter is coming up. We're still in the first quarter. I'm Bob Zahari with Joey Hudson. Second down and about 15 yards. They pitch the ball back to Fred Tucker. And Benny Benford's keeping his troops fresh as he's getting in quite a few different people in the backfield.
He's rotating a lot of players, and of course that's a key. Man down on the field for Ecorse. Hope he's not seriously injured. They cannot stand to lose a player.
Checking on the player down.
Number 40, Ruben Majors. He's down. Hope he's not hurt too bad. Of course, with that big line from River Rouge, they throw some crushing blocks. He probably got the wind knocked out of him. Let's hope that's all it is. Again, I'm waiting to see some of those gapping holes that River Rouge has been opening up all year.
Remember to join me, Bob Zahari, every week on Sports Week. Tune in on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock live and at 10 o'clock. Thursdays at 7 o'clock and 9:30, and Fridays at 5:30. Sports Week on your source for local sports, TV3.
Well, Ruben Majors, number 40, who was injured just slightly. It looked like he had the wind knocked out of him. He was walking off the field. Of his own accord, I hope that he'll be able to get back in the game. Ecorse could use him.
And that's the end of the quarter, Joe. With the score 0-0 between the Ecorse Red Raiders and the River Rouge Panthers.
Well, now that the emotions have settled, the intensity is building, maybe we'll see some good football. Somebody's got to score here, I
think. River Rouge will have the ball. 3rd down and 10 to go. Pitch it back to Fred Tucker. He's got a big hole. He's pushed out of bounds at the 35-yard line of the Red Raiders. Looks like he got just enough for the first down.
Well, that's that play we saw the other day, Bob, when you and I visited the practice field of the Panthers. They ran that wide sweep there. And again, behind that massive offensive line. And as you said, you see number 16, Fred Tucker, running to the sidelines. Coach Benford is rotating players on a continuous basis to keep them fresh. And that should certainly help. Now, this is a new rule apparently this year. Timeout called.
There is a timeout.
And with the score, Ecorse Red Raiders 0, River Rouge Panthers 0. We'll be back in a moment.
Program Director of Riverside Osteopathic Hospital Sports Medicine Center in Trenton. Our program has worked with countless Downriver High School athletes providing diagnosis and care for sports injuries. At Riverside Sports Medicine Center, you benefit from the experience of physicians, trainers, and therapists who have worked with high school, collegiate, and professional athletes. To learn more about Riverside Osteopathic Hospital Sports Medicine Center, call 676-4200. That's 676-4200.
Well, the big one has created the huge one, and that's a huge used car inventory at Harvey Buick. We've got some of the nicest cars in the state of Michigan. We've taken in 80s all the way through 86 model year. And I tell you what, we're dealing. We're ready to clear all the inventories at Harvey Buick. So make your best selection and hurry up and get to Harvey Buick, 14,000 Telegraph Road in Taylor, Michigan.
Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Great Lakes Field in River Rouge. I'm Bob Zahari. Along with me doing the color commentary today is Joe Hudson.
Glad to be with you, Bob, and aboard here at the TV3 Game of the Week. So far, emotions are carrying this game. Rouge seems to be on the move. Look at that line. Look at that block there. Men's key block there.
And he keeps his feet moving. Lamont Lewis. We've just started the second quarter. Looks like he got enough for a first down again.
Well, River Rouge likes to run those power sweeps, both left and right. And again, Richard Menz is in the backfield a lot there. You're taking a look at Lamont Lewis, who just picked up about 12 yards on that play. And Menz is the power blocker. He opens those gapping holes. He takes out the safeties and any of those rover backs, any defensive players lingering back there, hopefully to stop the play.
It is enough for the first down. They're at the 20-yard line of Ecorse.
First big drive of the game for River Rouge.
Their second possession. He's throwing toward the left corner, and he has it. Kevin Williams.
Give him 6. Beautiful executed play.
And he made a tough catch look easy, catching that looking right back over his shoulder. It almost came right over his head.
Well, when I played, we used to call that the 7-up. It's actually a 7-out. He punched right once and then cut very hard to his left. And we'll take a... All right, let's go back to the initial run that set it up. It got the offense rolling.
Back to live action.
Well, anyway, Kevin Williams from Chuck Hall. River Rouge now going for the point after. Hopefully we'll have that play for you in just a moment. Kevin Williams is also the kicker. He's had a big role in what River Rouge has been able to accomplish. Bad snap, but he got it through.
So Kevin Williams, who had an overtime field goal to beat Robichaud this year,
3-0.
knocks it through. Well, and Rouge goes up 7-0 early in the second quarter.
If we look back at River Rouge as we take a look at Kevin Williams and other River Rouge players, he's played a big role in their 18-14 win over Oak Park. Chuck Hall hit him with 43 seconds left. Finally got some score. Finally got a score on the board.
Kicking off for River Rouge will be Bobby Hill. He's the one that started that drive for the touchdown as he was back to punt, pulled down the ball and ran it for a first down. Back to receive for Ecorse, Fernando Walker. Bobby Hill hits it. Fielded by Walker. Breaks one tackle. Goes down at the 35-yard line. Tackle made by Aaron Hightower.
Now let's see if we can keep this momentum going. Nice return for Ecorse. Let's see if the momentum on River Rouge's offense will carry over to their defense. As we said earlier, they like to blitz a lot. The key to their defense is the linebacking core, Ricky Mintz, Ulysses Payne, and Dave Duncan. All three will be back next year.
First down play, they run the option to the left. He pitches it just at the last second out to Fernando Walker. He might have got one.
Well, that was nice coverage by Anthony Cross, the cornerback. Anthony, the 5'7", 160-pound senior for River Rouge. He covered that play. He went with the quarterback on the, it looked like a possible option maybe, or a swing pass. Ecorse got a pretty big guy there too, number 72.
We're still working on these numbers. We'll try to have them all updated
as the game goes on. Well, we're rolling the dice a little bit.
And quarterback is Garland Mance. You see him right there. And right behind him, Fernando Walker, as they come out with three wide receivers. They hand the ball off to Walker. He takes it up the middle. Gang tackled again.
Well, Bobby Hill met him right at the line of scrimmage, no hesitation. Of course, they've got Javon Griffin playing right over the Ecorse center, so that creates a problem. Certainly can't open up a hole with a big guy right there standing in front of you, and Bobby Hill was a quick reactor. 6 sacks so far this year, as we said, 27 solo tackles, 1 fumble recovery. I like this defense.
And Richard Mintz, the other linebacker, was Player of the Week in the Detroit News a couple of weeks back.
Well, we'll have to tell the public about his stats, which are very, very impressive so far this year.
3rd down and 8, passing situation. Under a heavy rush, the ball's almost picked off by Kevin Williams. And I believe that was Ulysses Payne.
You're correct. But the key to that was the rush of Griffin and the rush of Bobby Hill. Earlier we talked about Richard Mintz, and what an impressive sophomore. He's a sophomore. The linebacker, 65 tackles, 1 interception, 2 fumble recoveries. He's caused 3 fumbles. He's had 1 sack. He's broken up 2 passes. And as you said, he was a Player of the Week.
So in punt formation, Ecorse has it. He can't handle the snap. And River Rouge will take the ball over, 1st and 10 on the Ecorse 26-yard line.
Well, the Panthers gain excellent field position as we take a look at the replay. Ulysses Payne gets in there very quick. And, of course, Kevin Williams.
Williams having a big day so far.
And Rouge now has got excellent field position. Let's see if they take advantage of the mishap and put another 7 points on the board, or at least 6 initially.
They lead the game 7-0 in the 2nd quarter. And after the turnover, they'll have it 1st and 10 on the 26. Throwing down the middle.
Intercept. Did he trap it?
Is Anthony Cross.
They're giving it to Ecorse, Bob.
A diving interception. Here we see it again, Joe.
Well, the ball was clearly underthrown, and I think that was the biggest part. But let's not take the credit away from Dennis Pirro. He's a senior safety for Ecorse, number 44. He picked off that pass. Again, it was underthrown, and, of course, the intended receiver, number 22 for River Rouge, Kevin Moore, was wide open. Defense is back on the field rather quickly for Rouge, but they can alternate players. They've got, of course, a larger team.
Ecorse will have it deep in their own territory, 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Come out with 2 wide receivers, and the ball is fumbled again as they try to run the sweep play, and Rouge has it.
Apparently somebody passed out some butter before everybody went on the field, because we're seeing a lot of drop balls, slippery fingers, and the like. Okay, let's take another look at it, Bob.
Now you know why they call it a pigskin.
That's right. And it looks like Kevin Williams again on the recovery. Big game so far, 1 TD, couple solo tackles involved in a lot of different plays.
Good day for football. The field seems to be dry, but they're not hanging on to it. Big chance right now for Rouge. They'll have the ball at the 7-yard line, 1st and goal. Back to pass to Williams, and he hits Williams for the touchdown. Chuck Hall hits Williams for the touchdown. Just a simple slant-in pattern, it looked like.
Panthers wasted no time in close to the goal line. That big line, of course, able to give Chuck Hall the necessary time he needed.
I have to check this again, see who he hit. Yes, he does. He hits. I believe it was Williams.
Panthers are going to win it.
Penalty on the play.
Let's see what this call is.
Looks like it's against Ecorse, as the Rouge captain is over there talking with the referee, and it is against Ecorse, offsides. Now here some teams would take the half the distance to the goal line and then try to run it in for 2 points, Joe.
Well, Rouge doesn't have to do that, because Kevin Williams has had a pretty good year with his PATs, and there's another.
And he puts it in the backyard.
All the way over to the other street. I think that's over on Walnut Street, right down the street from where former Panther head coach Lofton Green lives. And 14-0, Bob. We finally got some points on the board.
Looks like we might have a lot of points on the board before this contest is over.
Well, Rouge has been lucky that Ecorse, of course, hasn't been able to get its act together. Both teams have made miscues. River Rouge, of course, has taken advantage of Ecorse's, and it's led to both of these scores. Chuck Hall, of course, connecting on TDs, was his main deep threat. And, of course, those weren't deep passes to Kevin Williams. But let's see if Ecorse can finally get its act together.
Kicking off from the 40 will be Bobby Hill. And they drop back William Binion in the middle for Ecorse. Second quarter action, we're relying on the referees to let us know how much time is left. But we know it is the second quarter, Joe.
That much we do know.
Hill kicks it down to the 30-yard line, fielded there by checking that number 2. He breaks it into River Rouge territory.
Well, that return was by Archie Clark. He is a senior at Ecorse High School, and if I am correct, his dad was a former famous basketball player, played for the Pistons, Los Angeles Lakers, Archie Clark Sr. You've seen his mom, Val Clark, on Channel 7 Action News. So he comes from a family well known for its athletic ability. Nice return.
It looked like
Rouge fell asleep.
Rouge fell asleep, and it also looked like he might have been gone if he wasn't brought down from behind by a shirt tackle. Here we see it again.
Well, the key there was right there, that block on number 24 that split him open, and hey, he's on the sweep right there. Again, you got to tackle him low. Number 24 for River Rouge, Ricky Johnson, saved the touchdown, stopped the touchdown. Maybe Ecorse can use this to put some points on the board.
He caught Clark by the back of his shirt tail. I think next time.
All right, let's go.
Here's the touchdown again, Joe.
All right.
Explain what's happening on this play.
Okay, here we see River Rouge lining up right there. Now we're looking at Ecorse first. The play that set it up, the fumble recovery made by number 85, Kevin Williams for River Rouge. They carried that momentum over and scored 6, and Williams, of course, scored the PAT after.
Back to live action. The penalty is obviously against Ecorse.
Major penalty. They had excellent field position and a very, very costly penalty.
It's a clip, and they'll take it back to the point of the infraction, which puts Ecorse back in the hole once again.
Well, certainly wasted an excellent return by Archie Clark of about 25 to 30 yards. Let's see if Ecorse can rally around it, but I tell you, Bob, I'm impressed with the way this defense is playing. Okay, now, here's a look at the TD. Hall right there, and number 82, Bobby Hill. He's a junior. Sometimes he plays tackle, sometimes he plays in.
So Kevin Williams doesn't have the score, so I miscalled that one. We'll give it to Bobby Hill. He has one today along with Kevin Williams. Here you see the head coach of Ecorse.
Well, Reginald Wilson has had a tough year this season, having so few players, financial problems in the city of Ecorse. It's the most difficult season in Ecorse high school football history, and I'm sure he'll be glad to see this season come to a close. They're 0-6 so far.
1st and 10 play.
And again, that whole core linebackers was in on that play for River Rouge. Dave Duncan made the initial stop. And
Garland Mance,
he's got to be taking a beating.
looks like he twisted his neck. That's a dangerous part of the body, the twist.
It sure is. We'll have to keep a close eye on him to see if his throwing is going to be affected as a result of that. River Rouge again is lining up in that 5-2 defense. They rely a lot on their linebackers. They shoot the gaps a lot. Ecorse is into the shotgun.
4 wide receivers. He rolls out to the right, does Mance. He's got some open room. Tiptoes up to about the 20-yard line.
Well, that looked like a design play. They lined up in the shotgun to maybe fool the defense into thinking long ball pass, and Garland Moss sweeping around the right end there, and wisely, of course, stepped out of bounds. You look at the crowd. We've got a nice crowd out here, especially on the River Rouge side. In recent years, of course, it's been up and down. Bobby, in the days when I played, man, we'd have almost 1,000 people on both sides cheering, shouting, screaming, of course, for bragging rights on Visitor Road for the whole year. It's the same in basketball and baseball, too.
That'll still make it 3rd down and 15. Passing situation. And Mance throws it out, intending it for Archie Clark, and the senior can't come up with it.
Well, I think he released that a little too soon. Pass rush may have affected him, but he didn't set up. He did not set up, get an eye on his guy, and Archie Clark was wide open. There's no reason why that pass shouldn't have been there.
That'll bring up a punting situation for the Red Raiders. Late in the second quarter, I'm sure. Time is being kept on the field today. Rouge on top, 14-0. Joining me today is Joe Hudson, the host of Open Lines, and he'll be the host of Election 86.
Well, later in the broadcast, we'll tell the viewers about it. Almost blocked.
He just gets it off.
Oh.
Looks like it was touched by a Rouge back.
Now,
Rodney Bruce.
Bob, if there are any elementary school kids out there watching, that was certainly not an example of a fundamental play. Number 26 for River Rouge, Rodney Bruce, should have let the ball bounce. And there you see he leaped forward, and there was no way that he could catch that ball. River Rouge, of course, was very lucky to recover it. We want to thank, of course, we got a spotter up here from Ecorse. His name is Greg Williams. And we apologize, as Bob said earlier, for not being able to identify everybody. But Greg is giving us his best shot, and we're able to call some of these key names and players play. Rouge back to the air, watch.
Rouge calls a timeout. We're late in the first half. Rouge on top, 14-0.
Well, one of the key things to these games throughout the years, of course, has always been the cheering section. And the momentum behind the cheering section for River Rouge, of course, is it's there. The players are receiving the necessary support. And here's that punt again. A terrible punt. And again, he reached for it, and he shouldn't have. And Rodney Bruce, bad mistake, but Rouge recovered from it. Let's see what they can go and where they can go from here. Live coverage Tuesday, November 4th, Election Day. I hope you all get out and exercise your right to vote. Join, of course, me and the rest of our TV3 election crew. We're going to do a lot for you that night. We're going to have live shots from several different locations. We'll be at Congressman John Dingell's headquarters. We'll be in Taylor at the Democratic Club. We'll be throughout the Downriver area with the most up-to-date and complete coverage. Election night, Tuesday, November 4th, starting at 8 o'clock. Join me and the TV3 election crew. Look to see you then. Until then, of course, I'm having fun here with my main man, Bob Zahari. Now, what was Z Zodiac on this game?
Rouge by at least 12. Pass intended down there for Kevin Moore. Looked like he was open, but it was overthrown.
Well, that's twice today, Bob, that Chuck Hawes had a man wide open. And, of course, Chuck is having an okay season, 13 for 32, 361 yards. He's tossed for 2 TDs, 2 more today, so that gives him 4 for the year. But, again, he's got to put it right in there when the man's wide open.
So that'll make it 2nd down and 10. Hall still at quarterback. Hands it off to Lamont Lewis. Got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe 1 or 2 more. There's a flag on the play, and it is against Ecorse. At least that's the preliminary call.
Well, that tackle, Bob, was made by Fernando Walker. But it's negated because another penalty against Ecorse.
That's enough for a first down. A face mask penalty against the Red Raiders. They move it all the way from the 37 down to the 20-yard line. And Rouge looks like they might be going in again, Joe.
I'm looking for Kevin Williams over the left side. Here's a sweep, though.
Pitch it back to Rodney Bruce, rather. He spins his way down to the 24.
Credit that tackle to Albert Barnett. He's a senior at Ecorse High School. Rodney Bruce there you're looking at on your screen. Ecorse, though, I tell you, is surprising me with their defense. I anticipated that Coach Benford might hit that swing out pass to Kevin Williams or to Bobby Hill, where he's had the success at. Surprisingly, the Ecorse defensive front line is containing the highly touted offensive line of the Panthers so far.
Second down play. We'll call it 9. They come out in the pro set. Back to Pasco's Hall. Looked like it was supposed to be a slant-in pattern, and his wide receiver had a mix-up in signals on the play. Intended that for Alex Gassaway.
Well, the problem with that play was not the pass. It was the pass rush of number 56 on Ecorse.
We're checking that for you. Third down and 9. They try the same play again. The slant in. This
Nice
time Gassaway catches it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, as the old saying goes, if you don't succeed, you try again. And River Rouge came right back, Bobby, with the same play, same receiver, Alex Gastaway, and he made a couple nice cuts. Coach Benford congratulates his players. Donald Stamps was the guy that got beat. He made the earlier stop on the play. But River Rouge puts another 6 on the board. Let's see if Kevin Williams will be 3 for 3 as he tries another PTA.
Kevin Williams, a big guy, 6'3", 210. This time it's blocked. Let's look at the touchdown again. Block was by Cecil Williams. The pass out to Gassaway. He makes a nice cut right there.
Beautiful cut, Bob.
Gets
Beautiful
away
cut
from Dionel Stamps. He's in for the 6th. Extra point is blocked. River Rouge is now up 20-0 over the Ecorse Red Raiders. Let's take one more look at it, Joe.
Okay, Bob. Again, River Rouge, of course, relying on the offensive line to give Chuck Hall the necessary time so that the receiver Gastaway can get out and run his pass route. We're at halftime, I guess. Both teams leaving the field. Here's a play, Bob. Now watch this line. That key block right there, and Gastaway, of course, makes 2 nice cuts. Cut in, cut out. And he broke past Dennis Perro, who's made some nice plays today for Ecorse. Gastaway scores 6 more points for River Rouge, and we're back at halftime. It's homecoming day in River Rouge, and I don't know if they're going to have some floats. It's my understanding, though, that they're going to have some music and the like. What's your synopsis on this first half?
River Rouge has too much defense and too much offense. And the other thing is, I think the lack of concentration by the Ecorse players is hurting them. They've been jumping off sides. A lot of penalties today. Even when they've made some big plays, they've had them called back because of penalties. Right now, we're going to halftime. It's Ecorse Red Raiders and the River Rouge Panthers. Panthers on top, 20-0.
Hi, I'm Larry Pashnik, and I'd like to talk to you about sports-related injuries. The Wyandotte General Hospital Sports Medicine Program provides professional rehabilitation using the latest equipment. The Cybex 2 aids in the rehabilitation process, strengthening muscles, allowing you to return to your full potential. Licensed physical therapists will design an individual exercise program so you can get back into the game. Call Wyandotte Sports Medicine at 246-6011 from the excellent care people at Wyandotte General Hospital.
Park Athletic Supply is your women's and men's local team sports specialist, serving Southeast Michigan for 25 years. Get these Russell Athletic Youth soccer jerseys and pants from $7.50 a set. A large selection of soccer jerseys for $7.50. Plus, Russell Athletic warm-ups and coaches' shirts and shorts. Park Athletic carries a full line of equipment for all sports and offers full service lettering and numbering. Park Athletic Supply, everything for the athlete.
To Gastaway.
Again, everybody, I'm Bob Zahari along with Joe Hudson. Let's take a look at the halftime stats so far in the Ecorse Rouge game. Rouge on top, 20 zip at halftime. Rushing yardage, Rouge is way out there. Passing yards, they've had 3 touchdown passes, 43 yards, 126 total yards. And Rouge has turned the ball over twice as compared to once by Ecorse. Penalties have killed Ecorse, Joe.
Well, that's been the big key, Bob. As we said during the halftime intermission, here's a scoring summary. River Rouge for River Rouge, Chuck Hall, 21-yard pass to Kevin Williams. Williams with the PAT after. Hall again, a 7-yard pass to Hill. Williams again with the point after. And Gastaway, really nice play, 16-yard pass from Chuck Hall. Chuck Hall now has 5 TDs on the year. And PAT failed after. River Rouge up 20-0 now.
Okay, we're ready to start the second half. Looks like Ecorse is going to onside kick starting off here, and they do. The ball's kicked on the ground. Penalty is thrown. Probably an offsides call against the Red Raiders, and that's the call.
Quickly recovered by number 59, Dave Duncan for River Rouge. But, you know, we certainly have to give credit to the Ecorse team for putting up a valiant effort, considering the situation, the lack of players and the like. The defense has been tough on occasion, and River Rouge, of course, has taken advantage of that 550 we talked about, 5 penalties for 50 yards, and each time River Rouge has scored.
Today is homecoming at River Rouge, and homecoming 86. There you see the king and queen, Charles Walker and Marquita Hightower.
Quick note about Marquita Hightower. She is the starting guard for the girls varsity basketball team, and as our director, Kenny Sheram, said, she shoots a nice jump shot, and she looks real pretty today in that dress. Nice homecoming crowd here at River Rouge.
We should be seeing some of her on the court later on this year. They'll kick it over again. Looks like another onside kick. Unintentional as it was. Ecorse almost recovered the ball.
Well, Javon Giles, number 25 for River Rouge, pounced right on the ball. Let's see if this offensive line that we've talked about so much is going to be able to open up some holes. Rouge has gone to the air each time they've scored. But again, that Ecorse defense has played, I think, a very significant role in stopping that run, that power run that Rouge likes to do left and right.
We'll see if Ecorse can keep up all this pounding. Defense been on the field quite a long time throughout the afternoon. They had the halftime breather, first play of the second half, and they stripped the ball away from Billy Campbell. It's recovered by Ecorse.
All right,
try to see who stripped it away here, Joe.
Number 72.
And that was Hiram Jude, the junior.
He's a big guy.
He reached in on Campbell.
Well, he's got a tough assignment today. See, he's playing across from Javon Griffin, the big right tackle for River Rouge. Excellent break for Ecorse. Let's see if they take advantage of it. Now, they've gone to the air a lot today, and they've got that pro set wide out, 2 receivers on the left side, number 33, William Binion, and number 80, Archie Clark. Let's see what happens.
Ecorse 1st and 10.
In the shotgun.
They recover the ball in Ecorse and River Rouge territory. They throw that one out to Dynell Stamps. He makes the catch and picks up 6 yards.
And the first completed pass of the day by Garland Moss. Here it is again. He's going under the coverage. And Daniel Stamps, of course, picks up a couple yards. Maybe that's the strategy that Coach Reggie Wilson's going to use here in the second half. He doesn't maybe think that he can go long on these Panthers, so he's going to try to go under the coverage and drop in a couple quick slants and hopefully gain some yards just as he did there. And of course,
make it 2nd down and 4.
Garland Moss
in Rouge territory.
Well, Garland Moss just did a smart thing there. He counted to make sure he had enough players on the field, and they're back in that shotgun.
He rolls right, and once again hits Dionell Stamps, who's doing the smart thing on a play like that. He comes back toward the ball, so nobody has a chance to intercept it.
Well, very smart reaction by Stamps to come back. He saw his quarterback was under an intense rush, and as we see it, Moss there swinging to the right, quick pass there, and Stamps dropping that head and shoulder. Stopped by number 65 on River Rouge, Ulysses Payne, one of the linebackers.
Ecorse picks up the first down of the game for them. That doesn't come until the second play of the third quarter.
Well, after not completing the pass in the first half, he's come back with 2 quick ones here in the second. And Coach Reggie Wilson, of course, is saying, hey, look, we're going to go for broke here. Let's see if we can get 7 quick ones on the board. But again, that yellow flag is on the ground. We've been inundated with penalties throughout the ball game. This is against River Rouge. I think it was an offside.
So that should make it 1st and 5 for Ecorse. This is their best drive of the afternoon. 3 plays and no penalties. And they've been working out of the shotgun. They drop into it again. 4 wideouts, 1 man in the backfield with him. And Mance looking downfield, rolling to his right, throwing deep. He has a man. He's got the ball. He's in for a touchdown. Dennis Perro, the senior wide receiver.
A big play for the Ecorse Red Raiders. Exactly what they needed to start the second half of football today. Coach Reggie Wilson came back and he said today, look, we're going to go under, make you think we're going to go under and hit you with a long one. He did that. Ecorse got 6 points. Emotional-wise, a big boost for the Red Raiders. Here's another look at it. Excellent coverage, nice blocking by the Red Raider front line, and Moss heaved the ball, almost picked off, but not. And Dennis Perro, a senior, plays safety on defense and tight end on the offense. 6 points for the Red Raiders. Now they're going to go for the 2-point conversion here.
Donald Jones beaten on that play. It looked like he was going to knock it down before Perro grabbed it. This time, Mance keeps the ball around the right side. And he's tackled just before he reaches the end zone at about the 1-foot mark. And the point after try is no good.
And here it is again. That defense was ready for him. Number 22 for River Rouge, Kevin Moore in on the tackle. But if we go back to that score, Bob, you were right. Donald Jones decided to try to go after the interception instead of covering the man, and he got beat. Ecorse got 6 points. Does the momentum shift right now? Let's see if they're going to do another onside kick. You never know in these ball games.
You wonder, they're up 20-0. You wonder if overconfidence wasn't the fault of that one, as Donald Jones looked like he had the receiver covered, but he opted to try for the interception.
Well, you've got to give these Ecorse players all the credit in the world. Their guts and determination, and again, this rivalry, as we said in the opening of this big contest today, is a big part. These kids will see each other throughout the summer. All of them are friends, of course, and they want bragging rights. Here we go.
Ecorse 0-6 on the year. You have to give them credit just for showing up at every game.
Well, it's been a tough season. The squad, of course, is undermanned. And here's that shift.
Here's the onside kick try. And they try to the other side. Kind of a strange play.
Yeah, very strange. Javon Giles picked it up from River Rouge. Had he beat that 1 tackle, you're talking 6 points for the Panthers. And more flags.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, Joe, unless they tighten up their formation when everybody moves to the one side of the field. Then you might try that.
I think so.
But when they don't shift, you have a better chance kicking the other way and trying to get a couple of guys down there to block the man before he's able to catch the ball.
Well, here it is again. We didn't see the shift, but there's the kick there. And Javon Giles picked it up, gained about 3.5 yards. Let's see what this penalty is and who it's against. Looks like it may be against Rouge. Or is it unsportsmanlike conduct?
Might have been a late hit or a spare, Joe.
Well, that's always something to be concerned about in these games. 1973, Bob, when I was a senior, I got hit in the jaw, suffered a broken jaw after Bobby Jones rocked my socks that night. So referees have to stay on top of this whole situation to keep the game under control.
They outlawed the use of the helmet as a tackling weapon a few years back.
Maybe he tried to spear him. We'll have to dig into our replay files and see if we can pull it back. But apparently it's against River Rouge.
There you see some of the big homecoming crowd on hand today.
No, it's not. I'm sorry. Well, I guess it's... Well, where you going, ref?
Okay. There's a personal foul.
Yeah. Both sides.
And a sportsmanlike conduct penalty against River Rouge. They offset each other. Rouge will take over the ball. 1st and 10 right at midfield.
And here it is again. Okay, you see Jones on the ball there. One hit. Oh, another late hit there. And we missed the number, but again, that's what the call was right there. Good call by the referees.
There's a timeout on the field.
Well, now, Bob, I'm excited to see what the Panthers are going to do coming out. Ecorse has come out and probably shocked them. Maybe we shocked them out of their confidence mode. And let's see if the Panthers and Coach Benford, of course, will come out to their regular offense. Well, tune in with me, Joey Hudson, every 1st and 3rd Thursday. It's 7 o'clock starting in November. That's a new time if you tune in with us regularly. Normally we're on at 7:30. Moving to 7 o'clock on Thursday nights, we talk to all the movers and shakers, the people who affect you on a daily basis. Open lines live every 1st and 3rd Thursday, 7 p.m. right here on TV3 and throughout your cable network. Look forward to having you with us.
Coach Smith, I think using his timeouts wisely, since he has such a small roster, keeping some of the players that are on there playing both ways fresh.
Well, and that's the key for Ecorse. They've had problems throughout the season with fatigue in the second half. And the fourth quarter, of course, is going to be the key, I think, but they've established their presence here right now.
I think I called him Coach Smith. It's Coach Wilson. River Rouge will have the ball, 1st and 10 at the 50-yard line. Second possession of the second half.
Look at the holes.
Lamont Lewis gets 13 on that play.
Well, that's what River Rouge does best, Bob. Running behind those two big setbacks, as Coach Benford likes to call them. Bobby Hill is, of course, a key there, and Ulysses Payne, number 65. He drops him back in the backfield, and it's just an open door for Lamont Lewis. He's 6 rushes today, 41 yards. Here's a look at it. Look at number 57 blocked there again. And Lamont, of course, got a little bit of daylight. Back to the
power eye. Chuck Hall looking to the left corner. Looked like some incidental contact, both players going for the ball. After that penalty, Joe, for some reason these sticks are down here, so even on that 13-yard play, they're 12 yards short. It must have been 1st and 25 after the offsetting penalties. I don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, again, Rouge is kind of mixing it up. It's run, pass, maybe run again. They're not relying on one sole factor, but that Ecorse defense is playing them tough.
And the ball off to Lamont Lewis again on the same play that gained 13 before. He breaks a couple tackles.
He's in. Well, wait till you see this replay, folks. You talk about a classic front line block setup. You're going to see it in just a moment. Ecorse, of course, has been tough on the defensive front all day, but the Panthers finally got that act together and put 6 more points on the board.
So 3 plays, they go 50 yards, with the last bit being navigated by Lamont Lewis.
Well, that extra effort paid off for him. He almost got tackled. He got that step and he scored. Let's see this point after. Kevin Williams.
Williams, 2 of 3 on the day. And this one close. Off to the left, though.
But no cigar. Well,
is he old enough to smoke, Joe?
I don't think so. I hope he's not smoking.
Let's take a look at the replay of that last touchdown run by Lamont Lewis.
Now watch this setup. Number 57 for Rouge. Look at that block. He's got 4 guys in front of him. Nice cutback. He put the shoulder into him, and that extra effort paid off. And 6 more points for the River Rouge Panthers. A classic blocking setup.
First touchdown on the ground today
for either team. 26-6. Again, the concern is, will the Red Raiders be able to maintain their stamina? They're hanging tough.
They were able to score on their first possession of the second half through the air after they recovered the fumble. But then River Rouge took the ball over at the 50-yard line, and actually 2 running plays put it in the end zone. Bobby Hill kicks it off. It bounces at the 22-yard line.
Fernando Walker.
And Walker out to about the 37.
Stop made by Bobby Hill and Leroy Jackson. Nice return by Fernando Walker.
I'll call it the 36, 1st and 10 for Ecorse. They went to the air last time to score. We'll see what they do this time. They used the shotgun, too.
Well, Coach Wilson isn't hesitating to spread them out. He's got split outs on both sides. I like Archie Clark in this play.
And Garland Mance scrambling around.
Nobody open.
Whoa, my.
He took a shot.
He looked like he tried to hurdle the defender.
Number 24, Ricky Johnson.
And Johnson made him pay dearly as he hit him while he was in the air.
Well, it's good that Garland Moss is up. We're looking at live action. Here's a replay. Split side. Now he had Archie Clark. You didn't see him in the screen. He was wide open. Moss directing traffic. Nice hit. And he's laying there just for a moment, but he's up and he's back in the action. That defense is converging now.
Gets back to the line of scrimmage. That'll make it 2nd and 10.
Well, the Red Raiders have got to have that time if he's going to pass as much.
I think he'll remember that as one of the longest runs he had all day.
Well, he's grabbing his back a little bit, too. It's going to be a sore Friday night for the freshman quarterback for the Red Raiders. He's going to be around for a long time, so he should be pretty good.
4 wide receivers again. He intends that one out for Archie Clark, who was wide open, but he floated it over his head. He has the wind at his back. That might have had something to do with that one.
And we have another flag. Again, the strategy of Coach Reggie Wilson is pretty good. I like it. But he's got to get the quarterback some time in order to look and scan the field over. He had a receiver over here at number 33, Williams Binion. He was wide open on the left side. As the ref talks to Coach Ben Benford. Another flag. I think it's important that the referees maintain control of the ball game because, as I said before, I've played in these things, and you know the intensity builds, and it's a rivalry. It's a very intense rivalry, and the name calling. We used to throw a little mud and a little dirt in some eyes. I admit that now. That was fun in those days.
Ecorse had a loss this year by a forfeit. They were playing Inkster. They were leading 8-6 in that contest when a fight broke out on the field and 6 players were thrown out on each team, which left Ecorse with only 9 players. And you know you can't play football with less than 11 players.
And Inkster got the victory.
Right. Penalty this time is against River Rouge.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Okay, let's see what the Panthers come back with.
And we believe somebody's been ejected. We'll try to get the name and number for you. This time they go back to the shotgun. First 2 plays, Mance was right up behind center. 4 wide receivers again. He throws it long down the right side. The ball is intercepted by Anthony Cross, intending that one for Dynell Stamps, and he overthrew him by about 10 yards.
Well, Anthony Cross was standing right there. He only had to take 2 steps to his left, and the ball was there. Ecorse's quarterback, Manis, had a little bit of time. He overthrew him just by a notch, and the Panthers retrieved the ball. So that offensive line finally gave him some time to at least to release the ball in the shotgun. He's got some time to rush there by Javon Griffin, and there's the interception by Anthony Cross. So it was a mix. The receiver, of course, has to turn around to see where the ball is. He didn't, and had he probably would have been able to catch it.
Almost like a punt, Joe.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Dynell Stamps makes the tackle right after Cross comes up with the interception. And that's the end of the third quarter, with the River Rouge Panthers on top over the Ecorse Red Raiders, 26-6. Fourth quarter action coming up. Stay with us.
Oh, hey, we called the yard tonight, huh? Oh, hey.
86 Catholic League Football Championships. Pontiac Silverdome, Saturday, November 1st, 1986. The Prep Bowl Festival will start off with a 9 a.m. service. A fun-packed day for the entire family. Football thrills, bands, cheerleaders, pom-pom, plus school exhibits. Don't miss Prep Bowl 86. Tickets on sale at all Catholic area schools, Knights of Columbus Councils, and the Silverdome box office.
Hi, Bob Z here, inviting you to join me for TV3 Sports Week. Tune in as we'll take a look at standings, scores, and highlights, plus interviews with coaches, players, and maybe a surprise or two. So kick back, relax, and get caught up on the local sports scene right here on Sports Week. Wednesday, 7 o'clock live, and at 10 o'clock. Thursday, 7 o'clock and 9:30, and Friday at 5:30. Sports Week every week on your source for local sports, TV3.
Hi again, everybody. Fourth quarter action. There you see the score by quarter. They ran one play in the fourth quarter. Lamont Lewis picked up a couple yards on the play. Give him a gain of 5.
Well, Rouge had a big second quarter, putting 20 points on the board and 6 quick points in the third quarter, but the Ecorse defense held strong, and of course Ecorse got their act together.
Joey Hudson of open line fame. Open lines, and the ball's thrown down the middle, this time intended out there for 82, Bobby Hill. Knocked down by Dennis Prero. Check that, intended for Anthony Powell.
Well, you want to give some credit to Dennis Prero. It's going both ways today, number 44 for Ecorse. Almost broke it up.
That'll make it third down and 5. So I was saying earlier, Joey Hudson joining me of Open Lines fame. Bob Zahari here, fourth quarter action, 26-6 in favor of River Rouge, and if they win this game, they'll win the SEC title.
Well, you saw an earlier break there about the Prep Bowl. The Panthers, as we look at this play, nice yardage again, nice blocking. I wonder now if the Ecorse defensive front line is starting to tire a bit, but the Panthers, of course, are vying hopefully for a playoff spot in this year's high school football playoffs. They are ranked number 5 in the region, 4 in the Class B. Now, the top 4 teams in the region, of course, will make the playoffs, and the Panthers hope that Farmington Harrison or Detroit Northern, both who have one loss, they could drop down, of course, if they are to lose again. The Panthers play Saginaw next week. We'll have to see how it turns out. Of course, we hope that they'll be able to make that advance. It'll be the first time for Coach Ben Benford's troops. Chuck Hall is still in at the QB spot for the Panthers.
Back to pass is Hall. Intending that one for Anthony Powell, and it's overthrown a little bit.
Well, Bob, again, twice today the Panthers have come back with the same exact play. The first time it worked when they got that earlier score on that pass from Chuck Hall to Hill. This time it didn't. It looked like a sideline out fly. But Ecorse had great coverage on it.
No!
Now the Red Raiders, of course, are using the old standard. Well, they're going with the 3-man line, and I like this big 72 for the Red Raiders. Looked like a blitz, and again offside, yellow flags.
Looks like the pro set with a power wing as they have number 65, Ulysses Payne, in the backfield.
Or Hiram Jude.
The refrigerator Perry.
They call him the Ice Cube.
The Ice Cube.
Yeah. Well, number 72, Hiram Jude, kind of reminds you of the refrigerator. He just came over here to the sidelines for the Ecorse Red Raiders.
So the pro set with a wing. The Ice Cube, they pitch it back to Lamont Lewis. He's gang tackled, but not before he gets up to the 49-yard line.
Well, that's that power sweep that we talked about earlier. And the Panthers have a massive front line running from either side. Most of the time, 95% of the time, they're running behind Javon Griffin, a 225-pound right tackle. And again, that power sweep worked for them there, good for about 12, 13 yards. It is a first down.
This time they come out with looks like a power eye left. And they pitch it back to Fred Tucker.
Williams Binion had certainly the strong start for the Ecorse Red Raiders. He's been in on just about every play. We've been calling that number a lot today. And regardless of the fact that the Red Raiders are short-staffed, Binion is playing as though that it's all for the marbles, and it is. This is an intense rivalry, and these guys want to win. They're not giving up.
Fourth quarter action. That'll make it second down. He got back to the line of scrimmage, but no more. Line up once again in the power eye look, and Hall's back to pass, looking to his left. Prero intercepts the ball, Dennis Prero, and he goes down at the 30-yard line. Good tackle made right there by Anthony Powell.
Here's another look at the interception here. Hall had plenty of time. He simply overthrew his receiver. Look at the blocking there. And there it is. Right to Pero. Again, you got to kind of set your target here and figure out where your man is and put the ball there. Pero's having a good game. Both he and Binion are, of course, keeping this Ecorse Red Raider team together. Now let's see if the Red Raiders will come back in this shotgun and look for Archie Clark up to center. They've been throwing the ball a lot today coming out in this pro set, Bob.
Turnovers on the day. River Rouge with 5, Ecorse with 2. However, River Rouge still leading this one big by 20 points. That time ball knocked down by Bobby Hill. Tried a little slant play. And Hill just swatted it away.
Well, didn't work that time, but
looked like they were trying to go back to the short pass, Joe, which worked on their first touchdown drive in their first possession of the second half after recovering a fumble by Rouge.
Well, I think what Coach Wilson decided to do was go under the coverage. Instead of going to the long pass all the time, he's going under because River Rouge has got an excellent crop of linebackers.
Back in the shotgun position again. Mance looking left. Throws it out there. Slides right through the hands of Archie Clark. Can't go hold on to that one.
And again, another flag.
Covered by Donald Jones and a host of other Panther players. Illegal motion is the call against Ecorse.
Well, that's been the killing stone all day for the Red Raiders. They've hung tough, although the Panthers have a big lead, but the penalties have given River Rouge excellent field position, and they've paid for it. Here's a look at it. Ecorse has suffered a loss of 60 yards due to penalties. River Rouge, of course, has suffered a loss of just 35 yards. But Ecorse's losses have come at very crucial times, and River Rouge is taking advantage of them.
What a big turnaround by Rouge. Last year they had only one victory on the season. This year they're 5-1 and can win the Suburban Athletic today. Back to passes. Mance. It's under a heavy rush. He tosses it out. The ball is recovered by one of the men on the chain gang. Oh, my.
And he's from Rouge. We're looking at number 27, Anthony Campbell, who made the QB sack. I think he can look for the Panther defense now to do a lot of blitzing.
Looked like an intentional grounding to me.
Well, I don't know if that ball was out of bounds or not.
They didn't call it a fumble. Maybe they did call it a fumble, Joe. Because if they didn't, I think we'd have to call that a intentional grounding play. There wasn't a receiver within 30 yards if that was a pass.
Well, Ecorse now is in a punt position.
Mark it as a fumble. Punting is Reuben Majors. Ball bounces down toward Anthony Cross. He lets it roll, and it's down right there by Ecorse.
Well, very smart decision by Anthony Cross not to pick that ball up. The Panther offensive line is starting to roll a little bit and said, hey, look, I'll leave the ball lay there. Let's see what the big guys can do and see if they open a few holes for those running backs, Billy Campbell, Lamont Lewis, and Kevin Moore.
Every week on TV3, the new staff of Downriver Week in Review, Tiffany Palucci, John Frassen, and Hendricks Knowles, bring you up to date on stories affecting your community on Downriver Week in Review, Tuesdays at 6 and 11, second Wednesdays at 5:30 and 10:30. Downriver Week in Review on TV3.
That's a good show. It's a good show. It's our way of staying in touch with what's going on in each of our franchise communities. Tune in to Week in Review.
Might be easier for me to say if it was like Heritage.
Or Sports Week.
Okay, we'll be back. The score, River Rouge 26, Ecorse 6. Stay with us.
I'm Jack Morris, Program Director of Riverside Osteopathic Hospital Sports Medicine Center in Trenton. Our program has worked with countless Downriver High School athletes providing diagnosis and care for sports injuries. At Riverside Sports Medicine Center, you benefit from the experience of physicians, trainers, and therapists who have worked with high school, collegiate, and professional athletes. To learn more about Riverside Osteopathic Hospital Sports Medicine Center, call 676-4200. That's 676-4200.
Well, the big one has created the huge one, and that's a huge used car inventory at Harvey Buick. We've got some of the nicest cars in the state of Michigan. We've taken in 80s all the way through 86 model year. And I tell you what, we're ready to clear all the inventories at Harvey Buick. So make your best selection and hurry up and get to Harvey Buick, 14,000 Telegraph Road in Taylor, Michigan.
Fourth quarter action. I'm Bob Zahari along with Joey Hudson. They come out in the wishbone this time, River Rouge does. And they have a new quarterback in there. Hand the ball off to Rodney Bruce. Check that, Fred Tucker. He takes it straight up the middle for a couple. We're trying to get the time remaining in the fourth quarter for you. They have 59 at quarterback. That's Dave Duncan. 59. He must be a offensive guard when he's not playing quarterback.
Well, that's something unusual. But Coach Bidford said prior to the air that he had a few surprises. Just found out 4 minutes to go in this contest.
They give both coaches the 4-minute warning, which is unlike the pro game where they have the 2-minute warning.
Now, Dave Duncan normally plays defensive end for the Panthers.
They hand the ball off again to Fred Tucker.
Well, you got to credit this Ecorse defense. They're making the inside plays. They've been beat on penalties and a couple, of course, good blocks by that front line, massive front line of the Panthers. As you see, number 16, Fred Tucker, heading back to the sidelines. River Rouge has been rotating players throughout the contest. And, of course, because the Red Raiders are undermanned, they haven't been able to. But the guy I've had my eye on all day is number 72, Hiram Jude. We're going to call him the baby fridge. Look for the reverse.
Third down and 1.
No, off tackle.
Looks like they got enough for the first down. Tackle made by William Turner, senior defensive end for Ecorse. You've been scouting River Rouge, Joe.
Well,
you call that reverse. We don't know if we'll see it now, but it's getting late in the game, and they were practicing it.
They practiced it a lot the other day when I was up there, and it looks as though Coach Benford's taking out his front line players. And he's given the second stringers and some of the reserve players a chance to get in on some of the action today. Dave Duncan, number 59, normally a defensive end, is the quarterback calling the plays. I was off the left side this time, behind number 60 for the Panthers.
Fred Tucker on the carry.
Leroy Jackson was the guard.
That was a first down play. He picked up 3 yards.
A little frustration there by Tucker, hoping to be able to get that little nook in the cranny and maybe crank out a few more yards.
Under 4 minutes remaining in the game. And it looks like River Rouge will remain undefeated in the league. They're 5-1 on the year, 5-0 in league play. And this victory will clinch the championship of the Suburban Athletic Conference. Second down 7.
Nice
Looked
coverage.
like a mix-up in the backfield there.
Well, I think it was a mix-up, but you also, again, you got to say that Ecorse defense was right there on the money, and they were able to crack the head a bit of Dave Duncan. Here's a quick look at it. Now watch this Ecorse defense converge right on Duncan just as he makes that counter step back to the right, and a loss possibly of a few yards.
Loss of 6 on the play. That'll make it third down and a long 13. And once again, the old familiar yellow hanky hits the field.
Number 81, Derek White, just a tad bit anxious. Derek, of course, plays tight end and defensive end. He's a junior. He'll be back next year for Reggie Wilson. Wilson looks like he's got a few players, I think, that are going to be able to help him in the years to come. That quarterback, of course, Garland Moss, is a freshman. So he's going to be around for 3 years. He's getting excellent experience this year. Just because they're 0-6 now doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to turn around next year. Let's see if the Panthers can finally move the ball.
Maybe they can take a lesson from Rouge. Right now, Rouge just running out the clock. They don't even attempt to go for the first down.
Well, this is what you call blood and guts football, everybody. Joey Hudson, open lines, and my main man, Bob Zahari, Z Zodiac, every Wednesday night on Sports Week. This has been fun today, Bob. Got a nice turnout of fans and everybody. Mother Nature's cooperated. A little brisk, a little chilly.
Good football weather.
Good football weather. And that's the ball game.
That's the end right there. They don't get another play off. River Rouge wins the Suburban Athletic Conference title outright with a 6-0 mark.
Well, that's good sportsmanship right there, shaking hands saying thanks, guys. You got bragging rights this year, but we'll be back next year. The Ecorse Red Raiders, of course, team mainly composed of juniors and sophomores, so these guys are going to be around for a long time. And, of course, the Panthers bounced back from a rough year last year. And who's to say what the Red Raiders will be able to do next year? But I think that they're going to be a good club. Of course, now we have to hope and wish that the Panthers can get into the playoffs. Of course, a lot depends on what happens to Detroit Northern and North Farmington, Farmington Harrison, excuse me, in the coming weeks.
Second half, the only touchdowns were scored. First was scored by Dennis Prero on a pass from Garland Mance for Ecorse. We thought they might be getting back into the game. That made it 20-6. They missed the try for the 2-point conversion. But then, next possession, Lamont Lewis, the big fullback, barreled his way on a couple runs. The last run, taking him into the end zone as he broke a couple tackles.
Well, the Red Raiders,
point was wide left.
Yep.
That's where the game ended 26-6 in favor of River Rouge.
Well, the Red Raiders could have gave up, and they didn't. They came out and they scored early, scored very quick, but the Panthers, of course, built up that big lead.
For Joey Hudson, I'm Bob Zahari. The final score, Ecorse Red Raiders and the River Rouge Panthers, 26-6. We'll be back after this.
Chances in a new rider.
out here.
Hi again, everybody. River Rouge winning the Suburban Athletic Conference title, and the Harvey Buick player of the game is quarterback Chuck Hall, who had 3 touchdown passes on the day.
Well, Hall looked pretty good. He was able to hit his man, his receivers, at the important elements, and of course those penalties certainly hurt Ecorse. But Hall played an excellent game. He's the field general for the Panthers, and they look good today. The offensive line, of course, Bob, didn't get rolling initially as we thought they would right off the bat, so it went to the air, and he was able to come up with the connections. One to Kevin Williams, one to Aaron Gastaway, a really nice play, and of course one to Bobby Hill. That's Alex Gastaway, and the Panthers, of course, came away winners. But you got to credit the Ecorse Red Raiders. They shut the Panthers down in the second half. I was impressed by that. I didn't expect it. I thought the Panthers might come out a little under, and it did. And the Ecorse defense, of course, held them back, held them down, and that was the ballgame.
Chuck Hall ups his touchdown total to 5 on the year. Started out the game with 2, through 3 touchdowns. He is our Harvey Buick player of the game. The final score: the River Rouge Panthers 26, the Ecorse Red Raiders 6. Thanks for being with us. This game is being brought to you by Park Athletic Supply, the team sports specialist, and by Wyandotte Sports Medicine, part of the excellent care from Wyandotte General Hospital, and by Harvey Buick. We guarantee the lowest prices downriver. Once again, the final for Joe Hudson, I'm Bob Zahari. The final score: the Ecorse Red Raiders drop the game to the River Rouge Panthers 26-6.